And skadoop. Says beer. Oh, you can't read it. Beer powered beer.
It's my kind of beer.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Todd.
We do have a Todd. What's up, man? He's just hanging out with us before he goes over to a different stream to try to get some free swag. I know the truth.
Todd, try to hook me up because that was quite the spread, as it were.
And they will be done probably right when they're starting. So I'll be watching too. Hopefully. What's up, Qui-Gon?
I'm not gonna watch, but just tell me what I need to do to get the swag.
I think for the one tonight, you have to be there. And then he said he's doing a social post tomorrow to where it's more open for everybody else. So it's only like one tonight, and then the rest of it's being given out tomorrow, which I was like, oh.
Talk to me, Goose.
I'll send you the post when I see it.
Deal.
I like those guys though; they're real nice. Apparently,
I haven't met them. I like their stuff.
Apparently, Joe was like 2 seats down from me when I threw my wallet at Chick.
Nice.
I didn't know who they were at the time. I can watch this on my laptop and the other on my phone. Okay, fine.
Hey, we got the laptop at least. That it's the bigger screen, so I think we won.
That's true. Weird. Matt is doing real life stuff tonight, so he's out tonight. So just the two of us.
He's drinking with other people. We are not taking it personally. It's fine.
Yeah, no. He didn't like the topic. Too much bailing going on. That's what he said. I need to paint my Balin so bad. I gotta get that done.
Balin's one of my favorite models I've done. I'm really happy with him.
His face really leans itself to being painted really nicely. It's
fantastic.
Well. Yeah. It's sculpted really well.
They did him justice for sure.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I think we don't need to go live, so let's go ahead and turn that off because we already are live. And let's go ahead and hit buttons. Pathophobia is real. Are you afraid of Pathfinders now? Because they still die. Right, Phil? They still die.
Not as easily as Commandos, but you know.
That's true. That's true.
They showed up in vests and t-shirts. Like if you were expecting them to take a hit in a game of Beskar armor and plastoid helmets,
Yeah. Todd, I did not see. Did you post it?
I might see it. It was nice.
Let me see. Oh, there it is.
Blue
I see it now.
With red markings.
Yeah, no, I like that.
I give people credit that go and do something creative because I'm over here like, no, Captain Rex is white and blue, so mine has to be white and blue.
Hello, Darth Nellon. All right, I'm hitting buttons.
Yeah, when paths hit full tree, they hit.
Stretch out with your feelings. I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Welcome back to another episode of Rogue Support, where we are always in your corner of the cantina. We got Phil.
Unless you're Matt.
Unless you're Matt. I was getting there. So Phil's here. I'm here. Matt's not here. Matt is doing fun life things and drinking without us, as Accuser put it. So we're drinking together.
Drinking with other people. It's fine.
We're not hurt. It's okay. I was
It's
saying
only my
that,
last show for a while. I'm not going to take it personal.
I was saying that we've just been talking to Balin too much, and he needs a break from it.
But Balin's Bay.
Yeah, that's fair. That's what it is. But yeah, we're gonna go into some more Balin talk tonight. I mean, Balin by proxy, I guess you could say, because it's kind of adjacent as what's bringing up a lot of the feelings and thoughts as of recent. So it'll be a fun episode. Let's go ahead and go to Corner of the Cantina. And Phil, why don't you go ahead and talk about the big things going on with you lately?
Oh man, I mean, I got my league game in last night for the TTS league, so I got my my final game of you're running it. It's 4 rounds, right? Like I don't have a 5th one I have to go fight, right?
I mean, I'm fairly certain because I looked at it like before I posted the last round, and it was like there should only be one more round because that should make X and one, like only one X and O. It doesn't make sense to me to do another round if there's an X and O.
Yeah. But yeah, so I did that last night. That was a cool game. I love when people do like creative stuff in the leagues and bring something a little bit different. So he had brought Cad Bane and Mando with IG-88 and Dengar, and then Han and Chewie. So it was like, okay, there's a lot of really cool stuff happening here, and I'm excited to be part of it. So that was a lot of fun getting to play that. I dropped my Kanan Leia into it, which part of me felt bad. He hadn't played. He's relatively new. That it was like his 6th or 7th game, and so he learned what Kanan and Leia do together, which reacts to things dying, which is kind of what Cad Bane wants to do. So
yeah, no, 100%.
That was cool. Then we got some local games in this week. So was really excited that a couple of my locals have hopped into our cast Discord and have started sharing like their painting work, and that's the kind of stuff I'm seeing locally, and having to put my stuff on the table at the same times, I'm almost embarrassed for myself. It looks so good. But like it's been going really well between Doug and I. We've like after the past 2 like meetup nights, it's been like, oh, they're learning quick and we're in danger. We can't drop fun stuff anymore. We gotta be real now. Man, so he dropped Mando armor is what he's been playing a lot of. He likes the theme, but he's getting really, really good with it. So he got me in a 2-1 on, I want to say it was Never Tell Me the Odds. And that one, I forget what I dropped this week. Oh, I tried the Balin Lando thing again. I was like, oh, this will be a fun like opportunity to try the Lando ESTs things. And ESTs were great. Balin was great. Balin and Shin like tag teamed the armorer to death. That was pretty cool. But Lando just fell down early and never did anything. Like even his like identity was never relevant. I never needed to, because ESTs died fast too. So it's like I'm not going to coordinate fire with them. So it just kind of was like a Lando's not going to do anything. I've basically shown up with 5 models and Lando's not one of them. So this is hard. And then there was just a moment I'll talk about later with our topic where it was like, oh, they're learning and they're learning fast. We are very much in trouble. But it's been really exciting just getting the community out regularly and getting to see. He printed the Ewok table, so getting to play on the trees and the wood planks and everything. And it's just like a gorgeous table.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Now to answer Todd's question in chat, is Maul the most fun thing to pair with Balin? So far, I'm leaning yes. That is the most fun I've had with him, but I will also shout out Hondo's a good time with Balin. And then I've only played it once, and I think I could do better the second time with it, but I feel like Charming Leia really can get some work done there.
I think my issue with it is I think all of the lists are fun with Balin. except for certain ones. I'm not really a fan of Obi Balin, but I don't really care for Obi's playstyle. I'm not a fan of Mando Balin, but I don't like Mando in Force type lists. Um, so it's like if you're playing it with a primary that you like and you're able to benefit from the expertise or the hunkers, then you're gonna have a good time with Balin. I think Balin's just a fun primary that is solid as well.
Now, I'm happy to pitch a pairing that I've not heard talked about a lot, except in our internal chat, because I thought it was a pretty cool idea, tinkering with lists after I got rolled over on Thursday night. Like, okay, if I were to build a Balin Premier, what would be good here? And I think the hardest part about a Balin list is if you're playing with Shin. Shin is pretty flimsy, especially at range if she doesn't have a ton of hunkers on her. HKs die. That's, what they do. Shin, you kind of want to keep alive a little bit longer. And I know we've talked about Ahsoka 1 as being a good option, kind of similar to what we've been doing with Maul, where you bring Shakti Padawans. But I pitched to you the idea of Count Dooku, No Sarai, and the B2 battle droids as because I've been slapped by them with a revenge trigger, and the B2s hurt, and they don't mind using some extra expertise for extra damage. So maybe not bad with Balin, but that's also like if you hit Shin, you've got to deal with Dooku regenerating force and then hitting you
Yeah.
really hard with B2s, like new modern B2s, while also having the force to battery Balin.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. Todd, I just suggested Balin box and GI box. I think that sounds like Balin and GI
Sounds great, yeah.
sounds great. And I just come back to, I think take a primary that you enjoy playing. If they have any type of thing that would be feel like turned up because of Balin's identity, try it because it's gonna be fun.
I tried it with Kanan because for that exact reason, because Kanan going from 2 expertise to 3 is like 2 crits or 2 crits and a reposition, and he's also got a reposition on his combat tree and pack leaders. So
yeah,
Kanan go burr in theory. In practice, my dice were not cooperating that night, so that was another loss into my locals where it was like, damn.
I feel like a lot of the Balin stuff is like when you're looking at who would play good with Balin's identity is you look for the breakpoints that actually matter. Like armor is a great example of this because going from 1 to 2 expertise to get the blocks to fails is so impactful. Just saying that armor is hitting 2 expertise every single time that she hits something just feels so good. And
I'll agree with it. I've been smacked around by it by you and by my locals because I told them about it and they're like, well, we just painted those, let's do it. Like,
yeah, I think that's what you want to look for when you're trying to pair with Balin is like, are you hitting a crazy breakpoint? Like if I'm at 8 dice and 3 expertise is a new bracket and that new bracket is insanely good, like that's something that I want to pair with Balin.
Well, it's why I like the idea of Lando. He jumps from 2 hits to 4 between 2 expertise and 3.
Yeah,
like he jumps. It's a huge swing for him. And I also like Mando with him on paper because having done it the one time, it's the closest I ever got to the Ambin rifle Yahtzee.
No, it happens. I think Mando's fine with them. I think it's just a personal preference pick.
Yeah.
I just meh.
Yeah, it doesn't speak to you, which is fine.
Yeah. Let's go Qui-Gon Jinn. Hot take after playing both on comparison. Clan Crees are a D tier support simply because the HKs exist. I mean, they've been kind of falling for a hot minute now. They're still solid for their tree. They're still, and that's like what you bring them for. You're bringing them for their tree because you want double shove and access to pin. And a support that does that's still very good. And then you come into, well, the HKs do double shove and then repo on 3, which is insane. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I just want to say like they've been falling for a while. They've been kind of
Clan Crees has been bottom tier for a while. The hit points are rough. But at the same time, their offensive output
terrible
is what like smoked Lando in my game this week locally.
Oh,
like,
I thought you meant the Clan Crees offensive output. I was like, what offensive output?
Oh, Yes. No, I'm talking about Clan Kreese. They
Oh,
took down
really?
Lando. Like
Really?
it
Huh.
was bad. Like yeah.
I mean, like
Like
they do. To be
if
fair,
they go like 4 down their tree, they're not
sure.
bad by any means.
Like so, like they're not terrible in the fact that they are rolling 8 dice, and once you get like further down the tree, it's great. And the issue with them's always been all you really cared about was 2 down the tree. That's all you really want is that double shove or pin shove. And that's what they're great for. Like they are a utility piece.
Yep.
And I think we live in a world of Shatterpoint where the supports are more than utility pieces these days. And it really shows on Clan Kreese that you can't be just a utility piece anymore. You have to be more than that all the time, not just some of the time.
Yep, which HKs do very well. They
Yeah.
are force neutral basically always, unless I mean I've definitely gotcha'd people with their reactive ability,
It's
which
fun.
is nice when it happens. Like oh, suddenly they're all out of range and gone, or oh now they're engaged with you, and that's not as good an attack for you.
And they're on a point now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you knock them off? JK. Now they're both on it.
You better hope
Better
you
kill
kill them. Which isn't the hardest thing to do, to
But
be
you
real,
can.
but
Like
yeah.
they're fairly flimsy, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah, I think the point though, like Clan Kreese, I wouldn't say D
feel
tier.
sad.
I wouldn't say D tier though, because like D tier to me, and I think this is all subjective, right? The tiers of what is C is, I think the best way to say C is like average. It's your run of the mill. I'd put them in C tier. D is like arguably unplayable. Like
Yeah, they work perfectly fine with Mandalorians. Yeah, they're kind of locked into a shell. They don't splash well anymore, but you know.
yeah. Yeah, no, that's it. Oh, Phil, what are you drinking? Oh, you said you're drinking. You're drinking that white
Oh, I
can
didn't
again.
say what I was
Yeah.
drinking. I'm back to the James Bean vanilla oatmeal porter. I did
Mm.
pick up a sour that I did not get in
Ooh.
the fridge yet, so we'll save that for, well, I'd say next time, but I'm not 100% sure when next time is for me. For people who don't know, we are expecting our second kid this week by Friday, so once we figure all that out, we'll figure out when I'm back, because we got to figure out a whole new routine while also layering a Theo routine on top of it. So, figuring out how 2 kids works is going to be fun.
You'll do great. I'm sure you'll be fine.
The 2-year-old did not nap today. I am exhausted.
That's fair. That's fair.
He normally knocks out for like 3 hours on a weekend, like
Mhm.
12:30 to 3:30 pretty reliably. Today he was like, he sat in his bed for like the better part of an hour just like playing with toys and like thumbing through a book, and then was like, you know what? No. And then was just kind of crazy the rest of the day. So
Yeah. No,
yeah.
absolutely. All right. Well, for me,
5 o'clock, I'm
Todd.
drinking coffee like chemical stimulant needed now.
Todd says cranberry and sorry. Todd says congratulations. Lord Conk
Thanks, Todd.
says cold drink cranberry and pineapple vodka. That sounds interesting. I like this. The thought of the tartness and the sweetness. That sounds really good. Why are all stormtroopers only rebellion era? I think there are a lot of questions about certain stuff on eras, and that's a whole different animal.
We can really open a can of worms there because,
Yeah.
like, if you're newer to the game, a little
Mandos, Ezra, Ahsoka. There's a whole. We can go down this rabbit hole.
yeah, because like if you're relatively new to the game, right? Like you've missed a little bit of history with a big rules update, like right as the core box released back in like it was like 2023 now, right? It's over 3 years ago. On release, they basically went from 2 eras, like we knew like Clone Wars and Rebellion era, like in the run up to release, and then it released with 4 eras kind of just out of the blue, and then they also changed how hunkers worked in the same drop. So it was like, oh, cool. More eras. We don't really know what that means that early, but
Yeah.
it was a relatively early update, but it aligns with Lucasfilm Publishing. Like they categorize all of Star Wars media into those eras, and they're a little bit nebulous when one ends and the other begins. So it's always kind of blurred, but It means a lot less now.
Yeah. Qui-Gon, Gar Saxon era change. I don't want a Gar Saxon era change because I want
Because I
Imperial
want
Gar.
an Empire one.
Yeah, I want
I'll be
white suit.
self-serving.
I want white suit Gar. I'm okay with not getting Gar more eras if we get a white suit Gar. That's what I want because that also
And
means
you know
more
that would be a
Mandos.
dope box.
Like give me white suit Gar with all like a whole box of white suit Mandos. Like that would be so dope.
And you know he'd be a primary, and he'd be Gar Saxon, Hand of the Emperor, and that would be the primary, and he'd be great with Empire stuff while also Mando stuff gets playable there.
Who would be his secondary though?
So there are two possible options there. You could definitely do his brother appears in season 4, so that is
But that's
Gar
super
Saxon and
short
Tiber
though.
Saxon.
That's so short though. He's barely there.
In fairness, Gar Saxon's in 2 episodes of Rebels, so
Fair.
you know, he definitely like outshone his actual screen time. But yeah, you could do his brother Tiber Saxon, or Tiber Saxon has a goon named Captain Hark. You could do. I've given that some thought clearly because you wouldn't have known Tiber Saxon had a goon named Captain Hark, but
I definitely
think he was actually an X-wing pilot.
I definitely think
in the game X-wing.
I definitely think that I would probably do his brother though if I had to pick one because like who else would you pick? Like he doesn't really have anybody that doesn't have the screen time to be here's a lackey that is like your supporting cast.
And to Lord Conk's point in chat, like Tristan Wren is a cool option, but like the Clan Wren tag does exist on Sabine's card, and I think like an Ursa Wren, Tristan Wren, Clan Wren Commandos box would be super cool. And then you give Tristan like a Boba Fett style thing where he picks Clan Wren or Clan Saxon at the start of the game.
See, that would be really cool. If we got another Mando box, it better be previous. So why not both? Why are we limiting it?
Why do we have to pick just one? Yeah,
I want both. I want both of those things. Give me Pre, give me Gar.
I want Pre Vizsla in a dual box.
Yeah.
And this has been my pitch for a while. I want him in a dual box in the throne room against a secondary version of Maul. Because I think that would be kind of cool for list building. Mother tells him with a secondary Maul,
I would love a secondary Maul, but that version of Maul to me would be a primary Maul, not a secondary Maul.
Well, the primary Maul of that era exists already.
I know.
And all their dual boxes so far have been one primary, one secondary.
Yeah, I could see it just because I wouldn't mind a secondary Maul, and it gives me more options to play Maul, and I'm okay with that.
And they'd sculpt him with the dark saber, like you know he'd have the like crossed swords or whatever in front of Pre Vizsla.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
You could do some cool modeling with that, and you know the throne would be like just like a cool thing to paint with like the Satine Kryze like.
The stained glass and
behind
everything.
The stained glass, yeah. You know, like hobbyists would like lose their minds over that.
Well, I mean, like you saw people did with the Dracula's castle. I think it was so cool.
It's such a cool, and AMG just does such a good job between the dual boxes and their other train kits. I really want that new Guardians of the Galaxy nowhere mining base with the celestial head because it like has all the link ups for like Shatterpoint gantries. So it's like it's got a Shatterpoint style ladder. It's like I could use that in like all my game systems. Sold.
Lord Kong or Qui-Gon next dual box has to be Yoda versus Pal. I don't man. I think
that. They took Sidious out of Legion for a reason.
That's my big thing is if Sidious had to be taken out of Legion, I think it's gonna be harder for them. Like I think if we ever see Sidious in Shatterpoint, he'll be in Legion first.
I do love the idea though of like if you had Sidious with the 2 lightsabers as he appears in Clone Wars. I think that would be super sick. Like I'm not even like I know everyone wants Sidious Maul. Give me Sidious Yoda. Give me the Sidious Maul Savage like scene.
Yeah. That'd be cool. All right. For me, I'm drinking Alaskan Amber still, and I just been grinding reps, getting ready, and painting, and I got a lot more purple on my Legion Mandos, and I still haven't painted Balin yet. He's still gray, not plastic. He's primed gray. So I still got some work to do. But I think I've got my list locked down. I'm pretty happy with it. Talk a lot with the purist of Christopher's. He's been running a very similar list. I think he's only off by one primary because he doesn't really enjoy playing Maul like I do. So, but he has been enjoying that list as well. But he's trying to go off Balin, and I'm trying to tell him you need to stay in this cult. So that's been exciting. But
there
yeah,
are dozens of us.
But yeah, no, I've just been getting games in where I can, and lots of thoughts, and finally locked down the list. Now I just gotta hammer down the pairings of what I want for matchups. So I'm pretty happy with how things are so far. Yeah. So
Hopefully I'm back by then, but I can't wait to hear how it goes.
I'm sure it'll be a blast. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead, and it was asked to go into a deep dive about hunker specifically, and like take cover actions, and how basically just going into it. And a lot of Balin play has been really making hunker tactics like shine, and I think it's really reopened my eyes to like some old plays that used to be done a lot more because of Obi-Wan used to do these types of plays. But then like Obi's kind of fallen off, didn't really do a whole lot. So you don't really see stuff like this. And people just kind of went more aggressive, and I have to be doing a move and I have to be doing an attack. But I feel like a lot more games lately are, I'm going to take cover move, or I'm going to move, take cover. And so we're going to go into that a little bit and talk about what benefit take cover does for you, what hunker does for you, things to think about, things to counter it, because it's going to be changing the dice math a lot. So we're going to go into that. So let's go ahead and Phil, what are some things that come to mind when we're talking about this?
So, and I'll probably end up like borrowing some MCP lingo talking through this, because if you've ever played MCP, the Midnight Suns are kind of they're a beater faction of like monsters and vampires and all of that, but like the supernatural side of MCP is very Midnight Suns. But for the longest time, their leadership was built around Blade. Blade, you could spend a power and basically do a range 1 place in MCP terms. And that's largely what Shatterpoint's doing, right? When you do a take cover, you're essentially getting an MCP bump of the night. Everyone's got access to what is arguably one of the best leaderships in the game. Like Midnight Suns is like a relatively mid-tier roster, but a very strong leadership, because positioning is so important in AMG games just kind of generally. So when I'm thinking about like taking cover, even when I'm not playing Balin, I'm thinking about taking cover as a way to get like a little bit of extra positioning, or the extra defense is definitely relevant. But more often than not, like in today's meta where things are diving on top of you and you're losing it pretty quickly, I'm thinking about positioning a ton.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that's the biggest thing to shout out is when you look at AMG games, 90% of what needs to be happening is all about positioning. And if I can just move and take cover, one, I'm making myself more defensive, and two, I am at that point getting that little extra bit of movement. And you think about like the base sizes in Shatterpoint are actually bigger than they are in MCP. So that range 1 place is actually bigger, or shove for Shatterpoint is actually more impactful than it would be for MCP.
Roughly a 5mm difference. 35mm base is kind of the standard small base, and MCP versus 40 for Shatterpoint.
But like it makes such a big difference though, because like when I go and I play MCP and Shatterpoint, I bounce back and forth. My movement perception of like how much space I have is amazing. When I go back to Shatterpoint, like, oh, I don't know if I make that. Then I go and I'm like, oh, yep, I'm fine. I'm there. We're good.
I go back to play MCP and I have to fight the instinct to deploy at range 2. No, you get range 3 at MCP.
Oh yeah.
Like, don't handicap yourself.
But I think one of the coolest things about the whole let's focus on the take cover action. I think the coolest thing with the takeover action is how versatile of a tool it can be, because you can either do it before a move, you could do it after you do your move action, you could literally just take cover and swing into somebody if that's what got you there. But like the thing to think about though is you got to be planning out your moves, and if I need to go and there's an ingress that I need to hit to give me a little bit of extra movement, I need to see if the take cover will actually let me hit that ladder before I get there. And that's one of the biggest things I think gets missed quite a bit, is utilizing the take cover to make sure you can clear almost half of a board. And it's insane.
Yep. Yeah, if you're doing the take cover like before you do the movement, you can sometimes get the cheeky play of like reaching a ladder that would have been just out of reach otherwise. And then that ladder gives you the extra, you're essentially getting a second take cover off of it because you're getting a range 1 place plus the range 1 distance from the ladder. So you're getting effectively multiple extra inches out of it.
Because your base is big and you're getting that little bit of the extra bump. So it's just really neat to think about and like evaluate how much extra movement you're getting from the take cover action. And I think in today's age of Shatterpoint, it's almost more beneficial, especially as the first player, to just move, take cover, or take cover, move, instead of trying to be super hyper aggressive, because it helps set you up to get into a position to where you're actually able to hold the center line, have better defense against range, which in the game, there's some crazy range attacks now. So you're, in a lot of cases, you're adding 2 dice because you decided, I don't need to hit my opponent. I'm just going to play it safe. They have to come to me. And it kind of puts you into the driver's seat of the tempo of the game by not overextending. So using it as a tactic to not overextend, still be able to get onto points, make yourself more defensive. It's not a hunker. It's actually a terrible phrasing right here, but it's not a hunkering down. You're setting up for your opponent's push, especially with how many aggro lists we have in this game currently. So I just think it's super interesting and something that isn't really noticed until I started playing Balin. Like most of my turn 1 plays with Balin lists are hunker or take cover and then move onto a point. It's like, your turn. Like, I did nothing. I gave you nothing. You have to come to me. And yeah, you might be able to shoot me, but now I have Bo-Katan on the middle line. I'm rolling 6 dice, protection steadfast. You're probably not doing anything to her.
Impatience for victory will guarantee your defeat. Balin sometimes has to kind of roll in slow. It's like watching a thundercloud roll in.
Blue Dracolich. It is a push, not a play, so you do need to do the full range 1. Absolutely right. We do kind of get the words mixed up because we both play MCP and Shatterpoint, so the push and place and all that. And but yeah, but I thank you for bringing that up. It's a very good point. But I think
you do have to go the full template unless you run into something. Them's the rules.
Yeah,
and that goes when you're shoving people too. You don't get to stop a shove because it's convenient. You go the entire distance.
So now, I think one of the neatest things, though, that has been like popping up for me lately, though, is in situations where you get to keep the hunker, because that drastically changes these play lines of me taking cover and just moving onto a center line. You can't just come strip the cover and that extra dice. I'm just gonna have it unless you come all the way to me and punch me, which makes my center line push way more effective.
Having played a fair bit of Maul Hondo, one of my favorite plays with Maul Hondo is bringing Ezra with Hondo and using his helpful hand. Maul moves to range of Ezra, jumps Ezra into engagement to strip hunkers, and then be extra dice for Maul's lightsaber throw. So if you can leverage the out of activation movements that lists often have access to now to strip those hunkers first, it's a big deal for your dice math. It's how you push results, and Balin changes that. I mean, Obi-Wan was doing it already too, but Obi-Wan kind of got the between boss kind of taking a hit and then the order card reservation clarification on the rules for him a few months back. It's Obi-Wan's not having the best time.
And isn't Obi-Wan's also only Galactic Republic get to keep their hunkers?
Everyone gets to keep hunkers. Galactic Republic then get 1 extra dice
in melee.
In melee, which is something unique from how Balin's works.
Yeah,
because Balin.
Which I will say that is something to pay attention to and watch your opponents who are playing Balin, because I have seen a couple of games now of where the Balin player thought that they got an extra die in melee. It's you only get the range cover because the hunker gives you cover. It doesn't give you an extra die; it gives you cover. So if you're not being hit with a range attack, you don't get the die. Obi-Wan is completely different and has a specific rule in his identity that lets you be able to add a die.
And I saw that, and I know that because I saw in Adversaries to Allies 2
Mm-hmm.
Adepticons ago. Someone was running Charming Leia with Obi-Wan, and she was just handing out hunkers you couldn't take away. So it was like, okay,
Okay, fair
that's
enough.
neat. So you don't get the extra dice, and I think it's Galactic Republic only gets to spend it for the heal and dash.
Mm.
So anyone
Yeah, that
keeps
sounds
it
right.
for Obi-Wan, but
So, but it's just interesting though because I would say the reason why the Mando list works really well with Balin is Mando's biggest complaint most of the time has been I'm only rolling 4 dice, and it's such a gamble if I'm gonna have Mando armor or I'm gonna have paper armor. And when you're saying, hey, I get to roll 6 dice whenever you shoot me, that's pretty good. Like that's real solid. And I just find it interesting that I never really looked at Obi before to pair with Mandos, and maybe it was something that was missed. Maybe it's still viable. Maybe Mandos and Obi, like Ahsoka Obi, might be interesting with Mandos.
and with HK, I thought about this a fair bit. With HKs being all eras,
Mm,
Obi-Wan Shock T HKs doesn't seem bad.
yeah,
HKs effectively get half of Obi-Wan's identity anyway because they can spend the hunker and they both dash.
yeah, no, 100%. Um, I find it interesting though because the survivability of coverts is dramatically increased because of Balin Hunker. The fact they get to keep it, like how many times did you shoot? Like just thinking about like our most recent game, how many times did you shoot the coverts and they just lived? I think you shot them twice with commandos and they did 1 damage each. It was like,
Yeah, it was not the Commandos' shining game. It's really sad because like I play a ton of Rebel Commandos, and lately they're just kind of feeling like pool noodles into certain matchups, and that's
have you played them with Balin yet? Oh my god.
yes. And usually I
Okay.
have the expertise I need before that matters. It's weird.
So the
Like I
funny thing
can't get
though,
any better expertise, but everyone's dice are just so much better than mine lately.
the funny thing though about like Republic Commando or yeah, Rebel Commandos is when you're with the Balin list, their first turn, and then like their starting turn, if you lose a struggle, they're starting out with 3 hunkers, and now you're able to
Mm,
give both of them. Because here's the cool thing that people don't realize about Balin, I don't think, is it's not once per turn, so you can use 1 expertise on one attack and then 2 expertise on another attack. You don't. It doesn't
yep,
have to be once per turn. Um,
sure can.
and it's great with Rebel Commandos because their expertise really unlocks after what 2? You have to get 2 to make it like really sing.
1 expertise is 1 hit, 2 to 3 is 2 hits, 4 up is crit 2 hits.
Yeah, four is like the. I think 4 is where it goes like negative, where it's negative results compared to the 2 3.
I'm pretty sure
Because
it's crit 2 hits because they get a crit somewhere, but it's late.
yeah, it might be that one. But it's just super interesting though that how many things there are in the game that hand out hunker that you just never really realize before. Because there's so many things that say I'm just gonna remove your hunker. I don't care about this. Like PLC's
PLC
identity
Mando.
gives out hunker, and then she has what is it called, the healing and move one or something like that. That's the one that gives a hunker too, I think.
So she doesn't give a hunker with that. She gives it with her tactic, where
That's what it is. That's what it is.
she can dash a rebel or a spy, which is a large number of rebels, or a ISB if you're being really creative, and they can dash and then hunker.
Yeah,
Or if you're
that's what it is.
Pathfinders and you're already hunkered, that's a full advance, and you're just getting yeeted down the board.
Which is
And
super
then her
interesting.
revenge gives one too.
But it is interesting to see the growth of the game to where hunker is more than just a die or 2 dice. Some cases 3 dice. It really does interesting things as far as mobility things. It makes you more survivable, and then it unlocks tech. So why don't you go ahead and tell people about your Lord and Savior as of late, the Rebel Pathfinders, and why hunker is so cool with them.
Pathfinders, I was already like kind of higher than most on Pathfinders, but like lately they're doing work. I had a game this week where like they were running the table and they never fired a shot, which was cool.
Yeah.
But then there was with Balin, like you can do some really crazy stuff with Balin. Um, if you're willing to put the force to work with them, think about the play that we just talked about with the commandos, where they're double hunkered, triple hunkered by the time they're firing and can modify that shot. They get a fair amount of crits on their expertise. They're just higher numbers. I think it's like 2 crit for 5. But
Hmm.
you can get extra dice and get all the expertise you want with Cloak and Dagger. You might just need one shot with them to punch a primary really hard. They count their crits from their expertise and their dice roll as auto damage as well into a primary. It's like you can probably do a fair amount of work with that if you're willing to spend the force for it. They're sitting on 3 expertise that they need just automatically and just snipe somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then like with Rebel Commandos, like the range 2 deployment, like I find myself tripping over my own commandos a lot now. Like it's like, oh, I can't quite like get my Kanan dash where I want to because this commando is kind of like unfortunately placed. That's not great. Now I got to go wide.
What
Um,
what's more
it
defensive, would you
ends
say,
up being a weird thing.
Pathfinders or commandos?
Defensive, it probably depends on your list, but 9 times out of 10, probably Pathfinders. Their expertise is significantly better.
But
It's one
but do
block
the
on 1, 2 blocks on 2. Yeah,
but
like
do the
it's not pointless.
Pathfinders get the repo?
On 3 up, yeah.
Oh,
They
really?
get
Okay. Because
2
that's
blocks and a
my
repo on 3.
that
Yeah.
is probably one of my biggest things why I love the commandos is repo on 2 is insane.
Paths do it too. Their trade-off is they only roll 4 against ranged and 5 in melee, so they flip the
Yeah.
defensive profile of the commandos.
But
But
if you're rolling
if
hunker
you're stacked
dice,
with hunkers, yeah,
then
you
you're
don't
kind of fine.
care.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe I give the paths a chance. I just know I'll never hear the end of it if I go to Evergreen Pathfinders and Donovan has to play against them.
In all seriousness, though, like I know that you hobbied up a PLC however long ago with a red lightsaber and a Boosh helmet. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
that would be
PLC's in the
gnarly
list.
with Balin on the table.
PLC's in the list for what it's worth. This would actually be the
Paths
first
could be
time.
too. You can throw paths anywhere you want.
The immunity pin
If
on
they're all
Paz is super useful. I could see that too. The immunity pin is probably
scale's good
super
too.
good.
The scale really comes in handy
Oh
sometimes in
yeah,
weird
especially
places
with
on some tables.
PLC. Especially with PLC, that sounds really good. And Sabine
Dude,
too.
Dude,
Sabine
with
and
PLC,
PLC.
Sabine can throw a Pathfinder anywhere, like on her active, which is great.
Yeah.
But Leia on her turn can throw both Pathfinders up the board full movement, and then she can spend a force to move one of them again full speed. And in a Balin list, like just don't get engaged, but you've got
Yeah.
access to scale and stuff because you won't get the full move, but it's fine. There is a lot of stuff Pathfinders can do, and I'm excited about them. And I think some other supports that get really interesting with Balin, like if you were looking to lean into Empire, Shore Troopers are sitting there with Veers now, or Krennic lets them shoot out of activation. If they're hunkered shooting out of activation, they get another die, so they're basically their own pocket Kalani effect. But then you can use that hunker to then convert expertise on that out of activation attack. Like there's some silly stuff that some of the supports can do that are worth a second look in a Balin list.
Well, I think that's something that we could focus on next here is let's go into the math of it. I'm not very good at math, but I know you're okay at it.
Yeah.
So what does adding a hunker defensively actually do to a model? Let's say you have one of the things that lets you keep hunker always. So let's evaluate what does adding a hunker mean defensively in range to a lot of things in the game.
Assuming your positioning, right? And this is going to be like some real hardcore like napkin math. There are dice calculators out there that will do the real stats work for you if you're so inclined. So this is real rough sketch napkin math. But let's assume you've got one hunker and you've positioned well and you're on terrain. One hunker converts into 2 extra defense dice. So on like a Pathfinder, that pushes your 4 dice up to 6. That's not insignificant. With fairly decent odds, it's what 2, 2, and 2 on a 6-sided die. So
Yeah.
you've got 4 and 6 odds on each die of converting to
Yeah.
some sort of success.
I think in basically most cases, +2 defense dies is +1 block. For like simple
The
napkin
real
math.
simple like napkin math, if you are like round 3 of a 4-round all-day event and just need a quick like napkin math, that's about the conversion.
Yeah. Which is insane when you think about it, when you have something that you're getting 2 blocks on 2, like Mandos, like Pathfinders, like Shore Troopers, like, I insert support that's in the game right now. Most of them are getting 2 blocks on 2 expertise. And one of those added dice from Hunker could be one of those expertise. And I just think lists are becoming more and more defensive because of things like Balin. But like, yeah, it's kind of insane because I just come back to like, man, what is so different about this Mando list? Like, Balin's not really doing much besides being present on the board. It's because coverts don't just die to everything. They're able to stay up, so you have to put a lot more resources into coverts instead of just, yeah, they're dead. Thanks. Like, it makes 8Ks more survivable. It makes coverts more survivable. Like you're saying, it makes
Even Clan
Pathfinders more
Kreese, yeah.
survivable. It would make
I
Clan
mean,
Kreese more
Pathfinders are
survivable.
already an upgrade over Commandos in the survivability department. Like,
Yeah.
they actually, like, exposing a Pathfinder actually matters, where Commandos like, oh, that's cute. Did you think I was getting more than 1 block out of my expertise chart? Like, Pathfinders, it's like, oh, that might actually hurt.
So we've talked about the positional benefit. We've talked about the defensive benefit and survivability benefit. The offensive benefit, you really only kind of get with Balin that I could think of at the top of my head. I know there's got to be something else, but the only thing I can think of is Balin.
So the offensive benefit, Balin, of course. Shore Troopers, you could make the argument that they get a benefit from it.
Yeah,
without
true,
Balin,
true.
just because they get the extra die.
Yep.
I think that's largely where that exists today as an offensive tool, outside of like positioning to get a cute shot or
Yeah.
whatever else. I don't think there's anything else that does anything offensive with hunkers. That's
Yeah.
relatively new territory from the Shore Troopers.
That's fair. Well, I think the next thing to visit here will be, well, how do I get this cool tech of keeping my hunkers even when I'm engaged? And I think the only sources are Obi, Balin, and Snow Trooper Lieutenant.
Snow Trooper Lieutenant with the Shore Troopers as its own package does not seem bad for what it's worth. You don't get the expertise conversion, but 6 dice or 6 dice.
Yeah. I think it's super interesting though that there's only 3 real ways.
Lord Conk, good call out. Rebels hunkered with secondary Luke Skywalker have access to rerolls with it. So if you have a hunker token, you get to reroll ranged attacks. And if you haven't tried that with Balin, putting Rebel Commandos with a reroll plus the expertise conversion does hit like a bus.
Fair enough. All right. So we have
That's a
our
good
ways. We have our ways to get the hunkers to stay on, and they're all very meaningful ways. Balin's a hoss, and like he just bullies. And I think this is the thing that I want to hit this real quick. Balin is not a slayer. He can be. Balin is a bully. He likes to pick on people. He likes to shove them around. He doesn't really care about killing people. He likes to go shove people. He can go Gemso and just say, I will murder things, but you're being reliant on dice at that point. He's the bully. Go think of Balin as the bully, and it'll change how you play him.
I absolutely love the Nemon stance the more I play. It
It's
is
so good.
so
It's so
rewarding to play
good.
it technically. Like, the amount of shoves that you have, which is all like micro positioning that Balin gets the benefit from. Like, assuming he's like fairly close to the action, by the time the center line is where the action is, like, Balin can make it to the center line and absolutely start pounding stuff.
Yeah.
But I've done a fair bit of it where it's like, do I need to reach a ladder? I'll pay for the dash and get the hunker, and then take cover to get the second hunker, and by that point, like, he's wailing on something.
Yeah.
And depending on what you get on your tree, like, there's shoves for micro positioning, and then extra access to either the yoink or to another dash, because he can do that twice. He's just he's mobile, but it's a very different form of mobility where it's all like micro adjustments on how he shuffles, which having I just rewatched Ahsoka recently, like having watched that though, like a lot of what Balin's doing is like footwork against Ahsoka. And
Mm-hmm.
it feels very true to the character. And then yeah, to Lord Kong's point, then Shin in there just kind of cleans house from there. And she brings her own form of mobility to the list. My game on Thursday into Armorer, Balin like did exactly that. I think he did the hunker in a dash for the second hunker and was able to get into range of armor and bullied Armorer into off an objective to range 2 of Shin and then pay the force with Shin. And instead of repositioning, she gets the second hunker and then she just finished the job on Armorer. It was awful for Armorer. Great
That
for me.
sounds great. Sounds great.
Yeah, it's exactly what you want.
Yeah. All right. So we thought about the benefit. Is there a way to get around this hunker mechanic? Because it sounds pretty brutal. How many ways in the game is there to get around hunker?
Man, there are a number of them, and I'm going to miss a few. The first obvious one is Crosshair, the secondary. He can just wake up. If he's not engaged, he picks something, and you just make their hunkers disappear.
Does he remove one hunker or all hunker?
All hunker.
Okay. I couldn't remember if it was one or all.
It's how you used to solve for Obi-Wan, was like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, take it away. So Crosshair being one of them. Then you look at things that like ignore cover. Gar Saxon and Guarm, I believe, do that. There's a couple of characters throughout the game that ignore cover.
I think Gar is one of the best ones, mostly because not only does he ignore cover, but he also ignores steadfast on one shove at least for his expertise shove.
And hey, fun fact, voiced by Ray Stevenson, who played Balin, and he also has a way to get a hunker in his kit, which turns on a shove. It's almost like Balin and Gar Saxon might be worth looking at. Nudge, nudge.
It's real solid.
If you're playing
Under Maul, maybe, it might be a thing.
Maul Gar does not sound bad with a Balin bow.
Oh yeah, it's a good time. What other ways do you think of besides Crosshair and Gar?
Guarm is the other one, but that's a little bit more to set up.
Aqua's a good shout. Aquas do get to ignore cover.
Certainly a shout. That poor guy needs some love. Like if he were a secondary, it'd be less than the dust.
I do always find that interesting, but that's neither here nor there. Freedom Fighter Leia bomb. I mean, that's a bomb though. Like all bombs kind of get around cover.
Well, I think hers actually removes hunkers.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So boss bomb, Leia bomb, they'll remove hunkers. Yeah. Sabine's does not though.
No, but she also rolls more dice than that typically.
Yeah, true. Yeah. No, that's another good. I didn't even think about the bomb.
Leia Freedom Fighter. That's right. Yep. So a lot of the explosives do it.
Yeah, just not the one that I like the most.
Sorry.
Iden is the big one.
That's right. Iden does it with her ID-10 Seeker droid.
Oh yeah, she gets rid of hunkers with that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. Which is kind of interesting when you think about the Balin play lines and how there are ways that you can literally just be like, you did all the setup and I just got rid of it. And it's kind of funny.
Because it is a lot of setup sometimes. Like if you're really looking to stack the hunkers, particularly on models that like to shoot twice or have out of activation attacks, holding onto them for that like revenge attack, like PLC having it. Excuse me. But yeah, there's a lot of really like neat things that do that.
Mm-hmm. Lord Kong says coordinate fire exposed. I think exposed just in general is interesting when you're thinking about it. Like, yeah, it turns down the efficiency of their dice, but they're still typically rolling 6 to 7 dice because of these hunkers. Mm-hmm. And now you're looking at quantity over quality, and it might actually outweigh the expose itself.
I could definitely see that argument.
Yeah.
And there's only 2 models in the game that do it now, but I mean, I think Night Sisters are still perfectly fine. So
Mm-hmm. No, you're not wrong. If Night Sisters had a little bit better expertise, they'd be super interesting in a Balin list because they get the more dice and all that type of stuff with hunkers.
yeah, and we didn't even talk about like Balin with Republic stuff. Like there's a world where, because Fixer provides a hunker to things that end in range of him. So
Yeah.
there's like there's some clone trooper thing somewhere where Balin gets like, I'm sure Hunter Fixer with Balin probably hurts.
Yeah. Firebrand. Interesting.
I would admittedly have to go read her card.
Yep, I'm not going to. It's okay. All right. I think with that, I think we're gonna actually call tonight a little bit early. This is a really short topic, but it was fun.
The long story short, hunker good, but there are ways to get around hunker.
Mm-hmm.
Use it, and that was I was telling Diz a little bit about it before we did the when we were talking topics and everything. Like I think it's a next level like play skill to have. When I was playing on Thursday, and my opponent like has picked up some stuff from us pretty quick, and he like, all right, Mando hunkers, move actions, clanitude dash, and force pushes Ezra off an objective. It's like, oh, you guys are all learning not to just be shooting stuff. I'm in danger.
Oh
I can't just
no.
put fun stuff on the table anymore.
Oh
But
no.
yeah, it's like the next level play line thinking. Like, how do I get the extra positioning out of this? Because it's really the best part of take cover.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Well, with that, Accuser, take us home.
Well, the most Star Wars thing you can do is hunker down, hide in the shadows, and wait for the right opportunity to jump out with your black cloak and orange lightsaber and, bully the objective.